Hello everyone and welcome back. Yes, we're back. Shark movies, baby. Let's go. Today we're talking about a sequel 12 years in the making, The Reef 2 Stalked. I reviewed the first one already, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. That'll be up here, little annotation or something. However, if you're too lazy, my brief thoughts. The first one was good, so there's a bit of expectation here. It's not a Sharktopus versus Terracuda, but we know how shark sequels tend to go. Don't we, Jaws the Revenge? Don't we know? The sequel here is once again helmed by Andrew Truckee. I'm sorry if I butchered your name there, but he's back, and with a returning director, that's a great start. So what's this one about? It's about a woman trying to move past a tragedy that's happened in her life, so she goes out kayaking with her friends, but the fun soon turns to terror as they're stalked by a great white shark. What else would the plot be? I don't know how many of you actually care about me spoiling these shark movies, so I'm going to be spoiling this one. There's some bullet points and some things that happen that I just have to talk about. However, if you really don't want to know that there's a shark and that it probably attacks people, don't watch the video, go watch the movie then. So the film starts before the tragedy takes place and we get to see that unfold before we have a time jump to when the movie actually gets going. And it's not shark related. It's not some sort of shark attack and that creates a phobia of sharks for a protagonist to fight, because they like to do that all the time and it's almost a trope in this genre. But no, they go with the abusive boyfriend angle and they almost double down on it too far. It's a really touchy subject to get right, because women do get abused, and if you play this wrong, it's offensive to people that have actually endured this trauma. And then if you overdo it, you start preaching that all men are misogynists and act this way, and then you alienate half the audience. As far as this film goes, it was okay. It wasn't offensive. It is a little weird sometimes, but it's short-lived. So the tragedy is her finding that her sister's boyfriend has killed her and drowned her in a bathtub. Our lead has sorry, this is completely off topic of the dark subject matter. She looks like the perfect love child between Chloe Decker from Lucifer and Margot Robbie. I don't know if that adds anything, but it did for me. As I said, I appreciate that this trauma isn't shark related. It's almost a cliche in this subgenre. But what makes no sense, at least to me, is now the protagonist for the rest of the film has a fear of water. And you know, yeah, her sister was drowned in a bathtub, but the water and whatever's in the water and how deep that water is isn't really the water's doing. This is the boyfriend. Shouldn't the trauma be, I am very scared of what a man can do to someone, rather than, no, I will just not get in the ocean? I do want to say they did a remarkable job building up the tension for the shark. There was no big loud noises, no big jump scares. They would just show the fin, just a tiny part of the fin ripping through the water, and it's enough. And the filmmakers are smart enough to understand that that's all you need. You don't need to overdo it. Imagine you're out kayaking and it's silent and you're just doing your thing and you see a fin rip through the water. You're just panicking. I must say, and I really love this, this must be because of the returning director, but it's the return of actual shark footage in these shark movies. I cannot state how powerful it is to see footage of actual sharks. For me, this takes it all the way back to what film is supposed to be, and that's you're supposed to buy into something that's not happening, and you can't make it any realer than having the actual sharks there. It's not something where, oh, we can make a better animatronic one day and we'll top this somehow in the future. It can't be topped. As far as the composition of these shots, you know, merging real-life shark footage with the actors, for the most part, they're really good. There's a couple that are real janky and probably shouldn't have been there or needed reworking, but nevertheless, it's pretty solid. As I was watching, I noticed within the soundtrack, there's a little bit of the Jaws theme in there, and you can't blame them. If it's not broken, don't fix it. There's little echoes of it in the soundtrack. I do miss Rafael May's touch to the score. She just added some sort of alien element to the sound in the first film that isn't present here. So about halfway into this movie, I thought I knew what this movie was and where it was going, but then it threw a very interesting dynamic in. Our protagonists are real close to land and they notice that there's kids at the beach and they've seen that there's a shark in the water, and it all of a sudden makes these characters not only have to survive the situation that they're in, but gives them an opportunity to be heroes in the film. It's very rare that you get something like this in a shark movie, and it was good. It kept it interesting. They got back to land one of the kids was attacked, so they've been given a reason to have to kayak to another island to get support for this kid. And it's good. All of the setup is good. All of these ideas are interesting as far as a shark movie goes, but the execution and the latter half of the film fall apart. Nick, the protagonist, her younger sister, usually the younger sibling is the really annoying one, the screaming one, the one that whines. But I am telling you, she really picks up the slack in this movie. She's got good ideas. She's basically at where the audience is. Like, alright, why don't we just make a raft out of this? Okay, let's get a bucket and just chuck water out if the boat is sinking. And she starts to take over this film as my favourite instead of the protagonist. For me, it's the protagonist where the film falls apart. Nothing against the actress, she's good. It's the character's decision making. Maybe a little bit earlier in the film, she was also a little panicky because of this PTSD with the water for whatever reason. But in the latter stages of this film, she becomes very irrational and panicked and is starting to make decisions for everybody, which are the wrong decisions. The same younger sister that's carrying this film, she gets knocked off the boat at one point and it looks really bad, the shot of the shark. Like, really bad compared to everything great that just came before. She gets bitten, but then she's pulled up onto the boat and saved, and the bite only went through, like, her life jacket. What? Do you know how much force is in a great white shark's bite? I'm about to get all educational on you. Education banner, let's go. Great whites have a bite force of up to 1.8 tons. A great white shark's bite is 20 times harder than a human's. And you're telling me that it couldn't get through her life jacket? Bullshit, movie. Okay, educational segment over. Back to the movie. So the movie has been fairly decent. A lot of good ideas up until this point, but then the protagonist goes batshit insane. So let me paint a picture for you, right? They're in this little dinghy boat with a little motor on the back, and it's not that big, so in order to make it look bigger, they've tied 2 kayaks to either side of the thing, so it's almost like the size of a raft. Now the middle boat is sinking, so they need to keep chucking water out, otherwise they'll sink. And the protagonist says, the shark is stalking us. We need to stop paddling. What? If we go for land, it will come for us. We have to kill it. What? The movie just goes dumb. It's like the next 10 minutes could have easily been cut and they're trying to, with like no weapons, kill a great white shark when you should still just be focusing on getting to the island. Nick has killed everyone as far as I'm concerned. She wants to kill the thing. She's gone mad. We can't make excuses that maybe she's got serious heat stroke. This is insane. Earlier in the film, they keep cutting back to her trauma with water, but the amount of times they do it towards the end of the film here is ridiculous. We understand you don't need to keep showing us. So Nick kills the shark rather than trying to save her sister first in what is one of the most pathetic shark kills I've ever seen. This whole killing the shark subplot should just never have been there. They're apparently underwater for about 5 hours because when they come up it's sunset when it was midday when they went under. Then the end is so rushed and awkwardly shot and acted because I don't even think we see them get back in the boat before it cuts to them way after these events, and they've already made it to land and they're on the beach and then they're mourning their friend that they lost. They completely dropped the subplot about the kid that was attacked and that's why we're going to this island to save her. They have a short, like 30-second video chat before their phone dies because the film doesn't even have enough time to let you just sink in that moment. I'm not sure what happened here. The production's also done by the guys who made Great White, which I reviewed, and I'm not sure if it's still up anymore because it just copyright claims it gets taken down and blocked, but that tells you something if you've seen that movie or the review. I used to always look at the shark kills as well because, you know, it's a shark movie. You want to see some people get munched on. In this movie, in total, only 1 person dies via a shark attack, and it's pretty bare bones at that. For me, unfortunately, and I don't want to have to say this, the Reef 2 Stalked from me is going to get a 4 out of 10. It had so much potential and so much good setup, but just kind of fell apart at the end. It's very average, and I gotta be harsh. This is how I am with other movies. I can't be easy on it just because it's a shark movie. It does get points for all the original ideas in a done-to-death subgenre, but without the correct execution and the we're gonna kill the shark, which came out of left field, it went from a very good survival thriller with actual footage of sharks to we want to do Great White, we want to do one of those recent shark movies where somehow they kill the shark at the end and it's less of a survival thriller and more, this is a movie again. I do understand if the crew wanted to do something a bit different, since it would end pretty much the same as the first movie did and they wanted to defeat the shark this time instead of just losing. But the film loses its realism then, and when you've got real sharks in the movie, part of what you're trying to do is convince people that this is real. Backing on that and making your protagonist sound utterly insane is just going to kill the whole experience for everyone. So The Reef 2 Stalked, have you seen it? What did you think of the movie? If you haven't already, consider subscribing. I'm going to be talking about some more shark movies coming soon. Drop a like on the video, it helps me out a lot. My camera's about to die, so I'm really quickly getting this out. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. And if you've made it to the end, you're a bloody legend, and hopefully I can see you guys next time. Bye guys.